Hello guys, it's Ben here from Airline2Sim, back again with another vlog. Just talking about some of the things that have been happening in the flight sim world since we last spoke. One quick thing is we had some contact with the guys from Rex. If you remember on our last video, we did a quick overview of Rex Weather Architect, which is the new product from Rex, which gives you the ability to generate weather. So you can generate some storm cells in a particular area. We did a quick overview of it in our last video, and we've since heard from the guys from Rex, Reed Stow, I think it is, Stough, Stow. So I hope I've got that right. Anyway, my apologies, Reed. Reed from Rex, who got in touch to say, yes, some people are a little bit confused about what it is, whether it's a live weather engine or a weather generator. Just remember that it's a weather generator. That's what it does. The live weather engine will be their next product. The other thing is that it does use some elements of the real live weather. So, for example, if you generate some weather in, I don't know, Reykjavik in Iceland in January, then it will give you realistic kind of air temperatures and pressures and all the rest of it for that part of the world at that time of the year. It won't give you, 50 degrees Celsius like you would expect in Kuwait or Saudi Arabia in July. So it does give you elements of the real weather in order to help create that, if you like, generated fake weather that it comes up with. The other final thing is that if you remember in the video, I had a little moan, a little whinge about the fact that there were some kind of blocky lines in the haze layer, and it kind of looked weird. There is a button you can press in the program that apparently sorts all that out. So I'm very grateful to the guys from Rex for the clarification on that. Rex Weather Architect, it's a good one, and if you've bought it, then hope it's working out well for you. Now, some of the things that have been happening this week, a couple of questions from you guys. One question which has come up several times, which is, why are we using FSX Steam Edition in particular, is what we showed you in the last video, rather than using Prepared? Now, it's a big question with a very big answer that I probably won't go into here because I'll be here for the rest of the day. For me, for what we're doing with Airline2Sim, which is making videos that we want to look good once they've been through, captured from FSX and then edited and then stuff added to it and then encoded and then put onto Vimeo, which is what we use to market our flight sim training videos. FSX just works better. There's a lot more to it, and I know that you Prepared guys would be like, what? No, what? You're an idiot. I know that the Prepared guys, can be a bit like, people who like Apple stuff. Like, I love Apple stuff, and when I see someone with a Samsung phone, I just want to slap them. I know that the Prepared guys are a bit like that. They're like, what are you doing? It's better. Believe me, I spend a lot of time with both sims, Prepared and FSX, and I always seem to end up a bit like, I don't know, like a comfy old pair of slippers. I always seem to kind of slide back towards FSX. I will do a video on it and hopefully explain a little bit more. That's not to say I don't like Prepared. I think some of the stuff that it does, the HDR, lighting, the shadows, brilliant, but it's not there for me at the moment. But I will come back and I'll do a bit more on that. Now, something else that happened this week is that PMDG have released some more shots of their upcoming 747 V2, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. I did notice on social media, a couple of people have said that they thought that the cockpit looked maybe a little flat and a little 2D. And in fact, one person said that he felt it looked quite similar to the FS9 version of the 747. I personally don't see that, and I think it's probably too early to start making assumptions about what the finished product will look like. I remember when the 777 first was previewed, I personally didn't find the flight deck quite as textured, if you like, and as, gritty as the 737 flight deck, but it's a different airplane. Sit inside a 777 flight deck, it's a very different airplane to a 737 NG. Wait until it arrives, load it up in the sim, and then make the judgment. But from what we can see, I think it looks pretty darn cool. And of course, there's both models of the 747 simulated the 747-400, a real old school battered around version, and the 747-8 model as well, which is kind of cool. So we're very excited about that. Speaking of the 747, let me tell you about somebody that I met last year, a guy called Bill Hagan. Now, Bill is a former captain who flew the 747-400 for British Airways. Now, Bill has a bit of an amazing backstory connected intrinsically with the 747. Bill was the captain of a BA flight to, I think, South Africa. At a certain point in the flight, when he was taking his crew rest, I think they were over Sudan at the time, a crazy passenger who was mentally deranged, there's no other words for it, from economy, came up to the flight deck, went in and grabbed the controls. Now, the captain's seat was unoccupied at the time because Bill was taking his in-flight rest. So now you've got a situation, the flight deck door, of course, was open on British Airlines back in the day. This is before 9/11. So now you've got a situation where you have a crazy passenger who's grabbing hold of one control column, and the first officer is trying to maintain control of the aeroplane with the other. And obviously can't let go because he's got to keep both hands on the control column, because if he lets go, then this other crazy guy has sole control of the aeroplane. Bill was woken from his rest by the aeroplane, kind of banking wildly to the left and right and climbing up and down, and grabbed hold of this guy's legs and pulled him. But every time Bill pulled him, this guy would pull even harder back on the control column until eventually the aeroplane went into a stall. Thankfully, Bill, I think, stuck his finger in this guy's eye or something, and he let go of the control column, and Bill was able to drag him out, and with the help of some passengers from first class, they tied this guy up. So it's a really amazing story, and one thing that I do like to do in the future is actually do a vlog where we get Bill along and actually talk to him about what happened on the day. The aeroplane was pretty bent up by the end. Bits of the aeroplane had come off during the kind of high G maneuvers. Aerials had bent off. It was in pretty bad shape, but was patched up and put back into service with BA and flew until a couple of years ago, where I think now it's probably a beer can. Well, lots of beer cans, actually, because it wouldn't just be one massive big 747 shaped beer can. That'd be quite nice. So I'm hoping to get Bill on and chat to him about his experience on the day, and hopefully when the 747 gets a bit closer or has been released, then we'll actually see if we can recreate what happened in the sim and have Bill talk us through the crazy mad ride that went on for, I think, a couple of minutes in the aeroplane. I think it would be really fascinating to see that. So that's Bill Hagan, a real hero who saved 400 people over the skies of Sudan back in the year 2000. We'll get him on a vlog real soon. Now, here's another thing this week. Not PMDG, FSD. Everyone has 4 letters in their name. FSDG, Flight Sim Development Group, who make some really great sceneries. They've done lots of really good ones. They've just released the latest one, which is Paro, P-A-R-O, and it looks really, really good. It's one of the most dangerous places to fly in the world, and now we can recreate it in FSX. So let's fire up the beast and let's go and have a look. We are heading towards Takti as you join the action, which is the waypoint on the approach chart. So from Takti we steer 360 to the VOR Pro, Paro, and then it's a left turn to 328 for 1 mile, level at 13,500, and then descending down to the MDA, which is 12,500 feet. Now, normally in the real world, I would imagine your kindly first officer would be manipulating the autopilot to give you flight director commands and everything else. I don't have the luxury of that, so what we're going to do is we're going to fly to Takti and then to Pro and then make that left turn, and then what we're going to do is kind of throw everything out, all the gear, all the flaps, and then hopefully in that situation then we should be in a position to land. That's the plan, but we'll wait and see. So the first thing I'm going to do is just steer us manually towards Takti. We're coming at a bit of a funny angle here because I've taken off from the airport and then kind kind of swung back round, then I'm probably not quite in the position I would have been had I flown here from somewhere else. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We need to get to TACTI, that's the main thing. And then once we get to TACTI, overfly TACTI, then we can then make the turn and follow the chart. So TACTI at 16,000 feet. We're on the local QNH. So the transition altitude here is where is it? It's on the chart, 18,000 feet. So we're well below that. So we're now flying on a local QNH, which is 1003. Weather's not bad. Winds are pretty light, 150 at 5 knots, and the temperature on the ground at the moment is 9. Okay, so there's TACTI. We're just about to overfly TACTI. So the chart says 360, so that's going to be a left turn from where we are. So there you go, just passing over TACTI now, so 360. There we go. And descending down to 13,500 feet. So there's 13, and I'll just use vertical speed for this. I know there's obviously lots of different ways you can do it in the Airbus, but I think at the moment I'm going to just do it all manually. Okay, so that looks pretty good now. What you can see there is the blue arrow, which is on the navigation display at the moment, which is there right in front of us. That's a level off point, so that shows us the point at which we will be level at 13,500 feet. We want that to be over the VMR, which looks like it's going to achieve, so that's pretty good. The other thing that we're going to do in a moment as well is start to slow down. I'm not entirely sure about the speed profile for this particular approach. I think probably the best idea is to get configured nice and early, so that we've got the speed back, we've got the flaps out, we've got everything ready, because I think it's going to be kind of difficult to be configuring as we're doing all the crazy maneuvers that we've got to do. Okay, so let's have a look where we are. Can we see the runway yet? Okay, there you go. There's the airport. The airport's actually down there in that little valley. So what we need to do now is come left, 328, and then it was 1 mile beyond Pro. We can then start to descend. Now we are pretty much visual with the runway here, so I think we'll probably be alright to descend. We can see around us, so 11,500 apparently is the next stop. So let me do that. We're now below the flap 2 speed, so I'll get flaps 2 out. This is hard. This really is hard. Okay, so as you can see now, the airport's beginning to just come into view. That's the airport down there, I think. And then what we need to do now is steer ourselves towards the airport. You see we've actually overshot Pro a little bit. We've gone a little bit to the right, but hopefully we can sort that out. Now, according to what I understand, we need to pass over the airport at about 11,500 feet.
2,500.
So we do look like
2,500.
we look like we're not in a bad way. I'm going to slow us down to 170. Now the next thing apparently is passing overhead the airport. We head straight for this mountain here, and then what we do, this mountain here on the right hand side, and then what we do is we then turn left and we skirt along this mountain here, and we make a turn in this valley and a kind of hard right turn, descending down to 9,500 feet. That's what we've got to do next. So this is pretty tense. I'm going to keep the speed coming back. Okay, we're pretty much over the airport now. Now, this is the ridge that we've got to turn for. So what we need to do now is make a turn and head straight on for this mountain right in front of us. And then just as we clear this ridge on the left-hand side, is we need to make a left turn and descend down to 9,500 feet. So let's do that. Have we cleared that ridge yet? Yeah, I think so. I'm sensing we might be a little bit high with all this, but anyway, we'll wait and see. Auto throttle's having a bit of a hard time keeping up with what we're doing. pretty steep bank angles here. It doesn't like this very much. So let's throw the gear down. Okay, now I think it's probably time to take out the flight director, take out that, cancel that.
2,500.
I'm going to throw down the last 2 stages of flaps, auto brake medium, ground spoilers are armed.
2,500.
So now it's a case of descending down to 9,500 feet. And wind the speed back a little bit. And basically just drive us around in this valley. So I think we're heading off over there. Then we've got to turn around and then fly back this way. So it's a little bit like, I think maybe it's a little bit like Innsbruck in that sense, in that you've got to fly within the constraints of the valley. I'm also going to turn off the terrain because it's just going to keep shrieking about the terrain to us, which is going to be, frankly, a little bit annoying.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
All right, so
1,000.
you join us just as we've made this scary final turn. We're just coming into the valley now, and we need to be at about 9,000 feet. Now we're heading for a temple. You can actually see the temple over there. Now the trick really is just a bit of speed control. We need to be at about 9,000 feet for this final portion. So we're kind of heading towards the temple, and then just as we get to the temple, what we want to do then
1,000.
is then come round. The runway is actually off to our right hand side. It's actually behind this mountain here. So let's hope. I feel that we're a little bit high, but I mean, we're only 700 feet above the ground. I don't want to go much lower. So let me come off to the left here. I'm going to skirt over the top of this mountain. The runway should be there.
500.
God, we are a bit high, but okay, we'll do it
400. 300. 200. 100. 70. 60. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 5.
Okay, not the most beautiful landing the world's ever seen, but anyway, never mind. Right, so speed brakes are slowing down. Oh, well. Welcome to Paro. This is incredibly difficult landing. It really, really is difficult. So, if you're not very good at it and it takes a bit of practice, then don't worry. You're in good company. Right, so let's have a little look at the scenery, which is what we are here for at the moment. So you've got some volumetric grass, which is kind of nice. There's a little fence that runs down the side of the runway here. I'm surprised the brakes aren't hot after that landing attempt. Quite nice runway textures. All that red on the navigation display. It's a bit scary, isn't it, really? Okay, so I will put the speed brakes down, put the flaps back to 0. I'll start the APU. The architecture in this part of the world is quite nice. All the houses have this kind of Buddhist influence. You know, there's lots of kind of temple-looking buildings, and they seem to have captured that quite nicely. I did read that only about 16 pilots are actually cleared to fly here. Oops, the brakes are a little bit hot. I'm not surprised. There you go. There's the, I guess that's the terminal building off to the left-hand side there. Got some flags that are waving around a little bit in the wind, which is quite nice. Okay, so parking. I think they just park straight in at the terminal. So let's come left here. So I'll be a good boy, and I will turn the, no, not the nav lights, strobe lights off, landing lights off, and I'll turn the taxi light off as well so we don't blind him. Okay, so how are we going to do this? So what I'm going to do is give it a bit of a left turn there. A bit of a right turn there. Hopefully it should work. It's a bit of a tight little spot, this one. I'm sure we'll manage it. Okay, there we go, straighten up. And stop. Okay, so part brake on. And the APU is available, so let's shut down the engine. So 1 and 2. TCAS off. We'll put the APU bleed on because I imagine it's pretty hot. We'll turn that back on. And I'll turn the fuel pumps off. And turn the beacon off as well. And the seatbelt signs can come off as well. Alright. Welcome to Bhutan. It looks pretty nice, doesn't it? You can got this kind of nice kind of Buddhist architecture that I talked about. There's a bit of ground traffic moving around in the background there. The control tower, everything else. It looks pretty nice. Ground textures are nice, as you would expect from FSDG. And the frame rates are really good. I mean, I know that it's a pretty quiet airport. There's not an awful lot going on, but I certainly haven't seen the frames go below 30 for the whole time that we did the approach, so I would say it's a good one. It's a small one, it's pretty simple, but the approach is incredibly difficult, so if you've managed to do it, then you're a better pilot than I am. So there you go. Quick look through of Paro from FSDG. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm done, and I'll see you again for another vlog real soon. Take care, guys. Bye bye.